Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Tuesday, January 22nd, 2019, 4:15 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. And we're looking at new data that just that came in from CAMS, and it's from Sunday, January 20th, so 2 days ago. And so I have it pulled up here with the Arctic view with surface level chosen. And what we can see is that the methane is still releasing up here in the Arctic through the sea surface and through whatever ice is there. And it's in this darker color that can be anywhere from 2160 to 10,000 parts per billion, and it's popping up in this whole Kara Sea, especially right up here at the northern end of Novaya Zemlya. So I'll run this movie. So the first day is the actual data, and then it goes into the forecast period. So you can also see waves of methane being released from the surface of Russia, and they go in cycles. Is what we've been seeing. Okay, so during that first day of data, it's really filling up this area of the Kara Sea, and then by Wednesday this new wave is moving out, and then more is coming up out of the Kara Sea there by Thursday into the forecast period. And we've seen that CAMS is pretty accurate with the forecasting of the methane because of their data model that they're using. And we're also seeing this orangey color being released. That's about 2040 to 2060 parts per billion being released through this northern Siberia area, and also out of the sea over here and over here. This is the East Siberia ice shelf over here. So the Arctic is in trouble, and we're in trouble, especially with this happening in the middle of winter. And if it's happening now when it's supposed to be cold and frozen up there, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like this summer. So we'll pause that. And I have the North Pole area pulled up so that you can get a view of the whole northern hemisphere. So the Arctic view shows a close-up of there, but also in the whole northern hemisphere we're seeing India is pretty much covered up with those dark colors, and in the Indian Ocean, and China and Asia as well. So anyone can go to CAMS and look these things up and see for themselves, and also look at other greenhouse gases and other things there. So let's go through the comments real quick that came in from yesterday. Jaybird says, "Thanks again, Margo. More proof of UVC reaching the surface," and he leaves a link to a YouTube video that's done by Dane Wigington. So I think Dane Wigington does phenomenal research and phenomenal work, and I've not watched that video, but thank you for that, Jaybird, if anyone wants to watch that. Valhalla56 says, I always found it interesting to think that below all the methane are people. You can't see them on the slides, but millions of tiny people soon to go the way of the dinosaur. Yeah, Valhalla, that's exactly right. I agree. And by the way, I'd like to thank the people that are leaving these comments and, you know, with more research and resources and, you know, the nice comments too. And it just brings a whole different flavor to our world classroom here. And then has a picture of the man going down to the dinosaurs. So Dave Harris says, thank you again, Margo. I'm pretty certain that methane itself will also degrade the ozone. Never mind all of the sulfur dioxide released by China and India coal burning. There are multiple volcanoes also releasing large amounts of sulfur dioxide. You are really the only one keeping us informed of what is happening regarding methane release, which I am convinced is the single event which will bring forth the final collapse. Perhaps others are just too panicked at what is happening with the state of methane release, so I just want to express my appreciation for your dedication in keeping us knowledgeable on this data. Thank you also for the ozone data. Mr. MBB333 was showing incredibly high UV readings all over the U.S. last summer. I'm greatly appreciative of the additional papers and information you have provided. As the Arctic enters spring and summer with the rapid increase in sunlight, I suspect that things will get quite interesting very rapidly, especially given the thinness of the ice sheet, the Atlantic side in particular. I'm very much in agreement. It is time to get our spiritual houses in order. Thank you again, and God bless you. Thank you, Dave Harris, for your comment and for being here. And I agree on all fronts for everything that you said. And so it's just more observation, and we are in alignment on this, and so God bless you too, and thank you for being here. And there are a few trying to get the word out about what's going on, and one of them that's doing work every day in this along with me is Robin Westenra, who is Seymour Rocks 97, who left this comment. And he said, thank you so much once again for this invaluable information. I've done a blog post comparing the sea surface temperatures in the Arctic and the Antarctic that gives further clues as why methane can be coming up to the surface in winter. And he leaves a link to this blog post that he just did. And it's really good, and he goes through using Earth Null School, showing the different temperatures in the Arctic sea surface and also in the Antarctic, and compares them and finds that they're in the same regions, and you would think that they would be that the North Pole would be a lot colder with it being wintertime and the ice and everything, but it's not. And so thank you, Robin, for your good work here, and putting a compilation of all of the things together. And you do incredible work, and you've been doing this a lot longer than I have. And I encourage people to go to Robin Westenra's blog It's called robinwestenra.blogspot.com, and he's been researching abrupt climate change for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years now. And he has articles that he's archived from way back and talking about all of these things way back then. And you just put it in the search bar up here, whatever topic you want to find, and he'll have blogged on it. And so it's a library, and it's a wealth of information. So thank you, Robin, for that. And thank you for being here and helping me, kind of get my feet on the ground with all of this stuff too. So now let's go right into earthquakes, and we'll make this report short. So we're showing USGS all day for the last, one day, 24 hours, all magnitudes around the world, and it's showing 228. So we can see that the earthquake makers are back at work, and just like I had anticipated, after the weekend and Martin Luther King Day holiday for the U.S., then people are back at work making earthquakes. And when we look at 2.5 magnitude and higher for the last 24 hours, it's showing 37. So let's see. Now there were some that just fell off the map, but it has to do with this area down here in Indonesia. And I'll go ahead and cover these down here because I don't want this one to come off the map here. This is a 4.6 that happened yesterday at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time near Coquimbo, Chile. Now we've been seeing earthquakes in that region, 51 kilometers deep. And let's go back to let's just load up for the last 7 days, 2.5 magnitude and higher. This will catch any that might have dropped off the map. But so this is in the last 7 days, and this is showing a total of 264 earthquakes that were 2.5 magnitude and higher in the last 7 days. So if we look down here, just kind of zoom in on this area. So we had 2. Well, and remember, this was where we had that big one in the last few days, that 6.7 on the 19th, 53 kilometers deep, so the same depth. And so they've gotten a lot of activity down in this area. And so starting with that 6.7, they've had that in the last 7 days. They had a 4.3, 4.4, 4.0, 4.5, 4.7, 4.8 down here, 4.6, 4. And this is the one that happened yesterday at 4:41, and then today they had a 4.8 at 5:54 a.m. and a 4.8 at 8:19 a.m. So these are still aftershocks, I'm thinking, after this 6.7 that happened on the 19th, even though it's 3 days later. So there's that. And so now I'll go back to 1 day, 2.5 magnitude. And let's go down to Indonesia next. Okay, I showed you that. Also, Alaska. Well, let's go to Alaska next because it looks like that's about to come off the map. In the magnitude 2.5 and higher, we've had a 2.6. This happened yesterday at 4:39 p.m. near Anchor Point, right down here. 3.0 near Anchor Point. 3.2 near Koktovik, and the big one in the last 24 hours is a 5.2 that happened near King Salmon, Alaska. It happened on land, and it happened at 8:43 last night. It was 127 kilometers deep, so that was a little deeper than what we've seen. Then 2.5 at Anchor Point, 2.7 Nikiski, and 2.7 Big Lake. So if we look at all magnitudes for Alaska, we're showing 71 on the map for the last 24 hours. So there were 7 that were 2.5 magnitude and higher, and then the rest of them from 71. So 64 that were under 2.5 magnitude. So we can see up here, in addition to that 3.2 near Koktovik, there was a 2.0. And then we're seeing these running down. It's like they're making a beeline down. And there have been quite a few at Redoubt Volcano. And right, so right in this area, I keep seeing them every day at Redoubt Volcano. So that's, having an earthquake on a volcano is not good. Or near a volcano is not good. Even if it's a little bit dormant, it's not good. And we're seeing an increase in the line coming down. And then here's the Anchorage area showing 37. So they're really piled up there. So there's those. So now let's go to Indonesia. They have been really getting slammed in the last 24 hours. And first, I'll show you this one, 4.7. This was the latest one that came in at 4:52 this morning near Samlaki. And then there was a 4.6 at 4:11 this morning at Samlaki. This one was 35 kilometers deep. The first one was 67 kilometers deep. Now, the big activity has been down here, and we're seeing 3 and there was activity here. There has been a lot of activity here in the last few days, but there was a 4.5 at 4:56 p.m. yesterday, right there. Then a 4.8 at 5:57, 33 kilometers deep. And then a big one, 6.4, that happened last night at 9:10 p.m., 27 kilometers deep. So it was near this island. It says 85 kilometers south-southwest of Bogorawatu, Indonesia. So that's rocking, and that could have caused damage on that island. Supposedly no tsunamis, but I imagine something happened down there. Then this one down here, in the Prince Island regions, it was a 6.7 that happened at 11:01 this morning, 10 kilometers deep. We can see it's on the southwest Indian Ridge, and so we can see it's right on that red line. So this was a 6.7, this was a 6.4, and so the 6.4 happened last night, and then the 6.7 happened this morning. So this is causing a lot of movement around, definitely. And then the rest of the South Pacific, there was a 4.8 right up here at the top of this red line near Tonga, 4.9 near Tonga, and 4.6 near Fiji. Now this 4.6 was 505 kilometers deep. It was very deep. It happened at 5:14 this morning. So that will cause movement of the plates. And then the first one I called out was, or the second one I called out was 205 kilometers deep. So the deep ones, especially if they're large and deep, cause movement around the plates to move. Then there was one off the coast of Taiwan. It was near Taitung City, Taiwan, and it was in the ocean. It was a 4.9 that happened last night at 7:19 p.m., 35 kilometers deep, and we can see the red line comes right beside there. Then there was another one up here in Nepal, 4.3, 16 kilometers west of Bhojpur, Nepal. It happened at 8:45 this morning, 10 kilometers deep. That probably didn't cause any damage. I'm not seeing that it's near a populated area, but that would be enough to feel. Then let's go back over here. To the west of Ecuador, near the Galapagos Islands, was a 4.7 that happened this morning at 3:32 a.m., 10 kilometers deep. Now the Galapagos Islands are heavy with volcanoes. That's an active volcano region there. Then up here in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, there was one right on the red line. There was a 4.9 that happened last night at 10:41 p.m. It was 10 kilometers deep. Now, I think we've covered the main ones around the world. Oh, EMSC is back up in case anyone wants to know, and they can go over there and look at stuff. Now let's go to all magnitudes and go to Hawaii. I'm still watching Kilauea. We've got 15 earthquakes showing up here. And there's actually a volcano park. It's called Volcano Park here. And this is Kilauea, where they're really stacking up. And so in the view, okay, 15 for the whole island. Here's one down here near Pahala. It was a 2.7. Here was one near Volcano, Hawaii. It was a 1.9. And then a 2.1 near Volcano, Hawaii. Now this one was at a negative depth. It was a 0.6 kilometers, minus 0.6 kilometers depth, which means that the earthquake happened up inside the volcano or the mountain. So that's showing movement of the magma. And so I'm concerned that something is about to happen here at Kilauea crater, because we have 12 volcanoes showing up right in the middle of the crater, and it's swarming there. And the largest one, it looks like a 2.3 right on the edge. That's the largest. Then there was the next largest was a 2.0 and another 2.0, and then the rest of them were under 2, like high ones. So again, this is showing movement right here at Kilauea. So we'll be watching that. Now let's go over to the Dominican Republic and see what's happening. We have a total of 12 earthquakes here in the last 24 hours. And looks like they're coming up in size. They're in the mid to high 2s, and we have a 3? Thought I saw a 3. Yeah, we had a 3.0 here near Vieques, Puerto Rico. Right here. So they're mainly in the ocean here to the north of Puerto Rico, and one that happened, or two that happened on the island. There was a 2.5 near Juntas, Puerto Rico, and a 1.9 near Garabo, Puerto Rico. But the rest of them were in the ocean. So then here's a 2.8 that happened north of the Dominican Republic. So there's that going on. Now let's see what's going on in the United States. We have a 2.2 near Cave City, Arkansas, that happened last night at 8:55 p.m. was 1.9 kilometers deep. And when we turn on this hazard map, the U.S. hazard map, you will see that that is part of the New Madrid seismic area right here. And so it's on the edge of it right there. And then up here at Yellowstone, in this hazard area, we have 3 showing up today. 1.0 near West Yellowstone, Montana. 0.7 near West Yellowstone, Montana. And 0.4 near West Yellowstone, Montana. So all kind of in the same area. So then up here in the Pacific Northwest, I'm going to turn this off. We're showing, okay, I'm going to get Yellowstone off the map here. Just one, a small one near Morton, Washington, 0.7 right there. Then coming down to Salt Lake City and Arizona, there's one on the border again, right across the border from Utah into Arizona. It was a 1.8. It happened at 4:16 this morning, 6.9 kilometers deep. And now look at Nevada. Guess what? The earthquake makers are back, including the ones at the Nevada test site and Area 51 and all of those places. So there's nothing up here in the Reno, Carson City area. We're seeing activity down here near Hawthorne again. So I'll just kind of pick out some of the larger ones. A 1.6 near Gabbs. Here's a 2.0 near Warm Springs. 2.2 near Pioche. And then these small ones down here in the Nevada test site. And then some right across the border, 2.3 near Sandy Valley. And here's an explosion that registered a 2.2 magnitude at 2:15 today, 2:15 p.m., 0 kilometers deep. And this was near Sandy Valley, Nevada. They're saying near Sandy Valley, but it's over in California. So that must have been a pretty good size explosion to cause that magnitude. Oh, and remember they were going to be blasting up at Oroville Dam today too, so let's look up there in a minute. Here's a 1.9 near Coso Junction, a 0.5 at Coso Junction, and a 1.5 near Lake Isabel. So coming on up now in the Mammoth Lakes area and the Long Valley area, we've got 13 on the map, and they're stacking up right here near Mammoth Lakes. And so let's see how we've got some microquakes. Here's a minus 0.1, then 0.2, 0.3, etc. Then they get up into the ones range. So microquakes, and then the largest one was a 1.6 at Mammoth Lakes. But let's just see how they're stacking up right here to the west of Lake Crowley. Look at all of those. How many are there by Whitmore Tubbs Road? 10. So most of them are swarming right here near Whitmore Tubbs Road. So there's that. That's part of the Long Valley caldera that we're keeping our eye on. Now let's go on up to check out Northern California. Then we'll come back down the other side of California. Okay, Well, if they blasted at Oroville today, if it made an earthquake, it's not on the map yet. But I'll be watching, and the last time they blasted, it showed up as a chemical explosion on USGS. Now, just to refresh your memory, here's Chico, here's Paradise, the place that burned down this summer. Poor people, and so many still homeless, and it's been snowing, and it's really cold in the area today too. It's so cold today. My heart goes out to them. Here's the Oroville Dam and the Oroville Reservoir, and they're going to be blasting right up here. The spillway, this is the spillway that they rebuilt that tore up, and so they got that rebuilt, but they're still working on moving rocks and stuff on the side and getting everything set. So it's got to be wet up there. I don't know how they're going to be blasting anything and trying to move anything. It's got to be just all wet and muddy and probably snow covered. So maybe they called off the blast. I don't know. But it's not showing anything up there today as far as earthquake activity. Now let's look, nothing else in Northern California. And then we've got, at the geysers, we've got 14. And here's a 2.5. It looks like that might be the biggest one. Here was a 2.3, 2.5. Yeah, and then the rest of them are under that, into the ones and under ones range. Then moving down into the San Francisco area was a 1.1 near Berkeley that happened last night at 11:01 p.m. Then coming on down along this red San Andreas fault line, a 2.5 near Pinnacles. Here's a 2.0 near San Ardo, and a 1.6 near Parkfield. And then coming on down into Southern California and the Los Angeles region. I always like to look at the ones that are off the coast. Here's one off the coast of Imperial Beach. It was a 1.2 that happened at 3:30 today, this afternoon, 10 kilometers deep. And then here was one right on the beach, a 1.7 near Chula Vista, but it looks like it happened right on the beach at 1:36 this afternoon, 10.7 kilometers deep. Okay, so let's see if we can get all these in the viewing area and see how many we have here. We've got 63 in the viewing area. Now I'm going to go back over to this one. Let's see what just came in here. Looks like we just got another 2.5 at the geysers that just came in. Alright, so let's come on down. So we're looking at 2.5 magnitude and higher, and there has been activity here. And wait until I show you all magnitudes, but the larger ones here, there was a 3.1, and they're calling it near Brawley, California. Here's Brawley. And then that one happened at 5:50 last night, yesterday, 5:50 p.m. yesterday, a 3.6 that happened at 12:24 this morning, and a 2.7 that happened at 4:39 this morning. So if we go to all magnitudes, let's go down here, and we've got 11. So we had 3 that were 2.5 magnitude and higher, and now we've got 8 that are smaller, that are like 2 and under, high and mid ones. So it almost looks like it's following almost a grid pattern. I remember a few years ago here in the Reno area, we had like this swarm of earthquakes that happened near Verdi, and it was like 1,000 quakes in like 5 days or something, and they literally followed a tic-tac-toe grid line pattern. They were totally in straight lines. So this is not exactly like that, but it kind of reminds me of it. So for whatever reason. Then we've got these down here at Kalipatria. We've got a 2.0, the biggest one, and then a 1.8 and 1.4 there. And then the rest of them are scattered around. Kauai is another hot spot. There are 20 showing here at Kauai, and this one over, and these two near there. And these are small, under ones and in the mid ones range. So, but the small ones count. They do. They eat away. Here's a 2.4 near San Bernardino. So I think we got them all. Did we get this one? Yeah, Lake Isabella. I think that's all of them. And I'll zoom out and see if anything else has happened since we started the report today. It looks like we had another 2.5 near Anchor Point, Alaska. That came in at 446. That was 103 kilometers deep. And we saw this one at the geysers. And we saw this one at Nepal, Chile. I think we got them all. So I'm going to wrap it up for today, and I hope everybody is having a good day and getting back in the routine for your shortened work week now for a lot of people. So I will talk to everyone tomorrow, and I do believe we are in the end times, and that I am showing the signs that we are in the end times so that people can get their spiritual houses in order and get ready to leave the planet. So until next time, I love all of you. God bless you. Go in peace, and goodbye.